Starting and growing your business doesn't have to be difficult. It's all about creating the right plan, foundation, processes, procedures, and having the right mindset. Welcome to the CEO Hustler Show, the podcast dedicated to help you start, grow, and decipher your entrepreneur interpreting and translation business. I am your host, Faviola Valencia. I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 years and started my business from the ground up, but also turned it into a six-figure business in under 3 months. And together, you and I, we are going to get your business on the right track so that you can enjoy the journey, but also earn your worth and get the right plan in motion. So let's get ready to boss up and rise, starting now. Hey, hustlers. Thank you so much for joining in once again. You know, one of the things that I get asked all the time with regards to how do I start my business? How do I grow my business, launch it, decipher I'm having trouble. I don't have a college degree. I don't have experience, but I really want to start my own business. And let me tell you, for one, it doesn't take much to become an entrepreneur. One of the things that I always tell you is you need to start by self-evaluating yourself, really diving down and understanding. For example, what skills do you have, if any? Where does your passion lie? What kind of expertise do you have? Can you afford it? How much capital do you have? What sort of lifestyle do you want to live? What do you envision? What is your ultimate mission when starting a business? Because we all may have an idea, but when you really start diving into seeing if it's possible, or what you need, that's kind of where we get stuck a little bit and where a lot of the doubt comes into place. So one of the things that I always say is, for starters, no, you don't need a degree to start your own business. What you need is to have that passion, that motivation, that go-getter attitude that you want to start your own business. So one of the things that's super, super important to consider is before you really decide, hey, this is the type of business that I want to start doing, do your market research. Really find those resources to find out if indeed that is the type of business that you want to start. 2, get some feedback, Don't be afraid of reaching out to others that are already doing that type of business. Find out, what their journey is like. Get information with regards to the type of business, the sector, what you need. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people out there that are willing to share the information with you to really help you decide if indeed that is the type of business you want to start. Once you get all of the doubts that you've had, or maybe the questions that you've had answered, then let's make it official. What do I mean by that? Yes, let's get that vision and mission into a solid plan. So making it official is by basically converting all of those ideas into a business plan. So if you have not downloaded the Hustler Biz Plan, I invite you to do so. I'll put the link here on the podcast. That business plan is basically going to go over your business structure, really creating those checklists of things that you need to do in order for you to create that solid business and adhering, more importantly, to all of the policies, procedures, the guidelines, the federal, state, city, county licensing rules that you must adhere to, because many of you basically, decide one day, hey, I want to start my business, and then you just start it, but you forget about all of the back end processes, all of the things that you must do in order for you to be compliant. And that's where many of you start getting yourself into problems, because either you don't have the right permits or the right licenses or even the right structure. So it's super important that before you decide to do anything, that you do your research, that you self evaluate yourself, that you create this plan. And right now, it is super, super important with all of the changes that are happening around the globe. You must have all of these things in place. So, for example, many of you don't have an executive summary or a business description or a strategy or an analysis or even an operations or management plan. Do you agree? Many of you don't even have your finances in place. For example, okay, what kind of money am I going to need to basically start my business, to grow my business? Am I going to have, funds to be able to pay my employees, or am I going to wait until I get paid to pay my contractors, to pay my employees? There's so many pieces to this puzzle that you need to consider. And I cannot stress that enough. For those of you that have been following me or know a little bit about me, let me tell you a little bit more. I started my business 20 years ago. I started my business just like you with the vision. And as I started my business, my vision, believe it or not, was only to create a small business. I never thought in my wildest dream that it was going to turn into a six-figure corporate business, meaning hiring employees, contractors, virtual offices, opening offices across different states. I never envisioned that. So therefore, I made the mistake where I basically took on more business without having the right structure. And believe it or not, into the as I started to grow my business, I started to have problems and issues because I didn't have a lot of these things set in place. And that's why everything that I share with you guys now is I basically share with you all of the good, the bad, and the evil so that you don't have to go through these same struggles, these same challenges. I share forms, templates, terms, conditions, everything that you need in order for you to create that solid foundation so that it will not only help you with the starting aspect, but also the middle and end. As you're growing your business, you're going to have to continue to implement new processes, new procedures, and your business is going to start flourishing, believe it or not. When you have all of these things in place, it makes such a huge difference versus you opening up a business and not knowing what the heck to do. And as your business is growing, now you're scrambling and struggling because, oh my God, now you have to do this and you have to do that and you have to hire specialists and you have to implement these processes and procedures. And now you're creating a bigger risk for your business rather than reducing that risk. Do you agree? The other thing that many of you guys fail in doing is basically building a team, because as you're growing, your mindset may be like, okay, well, I just want to be a solopreneur or an entrepreneur. I'm not thinking of hiring employees or contractors. But as the money's coming in and the business is growing, it's like, oh my gosh, you know what? Wow, there's more to this. Now I want to do this. Now I want to do that. And therefore, you don't have a clear goal, a clear process. And so you're basically creating more and more problems for yourself. So it's super important that before you start jumping the gun, that you basically, if you decide that you want to really, in your vision, that you really want to open up a branch or hire employees or hire staff, that you create that process and the procedures to really build that awesome team that's going to help you with your dreams, with your visions, but not just hiring anybody. You have to hire and evaluate those people to make sure that they have the same vision as you, to make sure that they are in parallel with you. Because the worst thing that you can do is hire somebody that doesn't have that same vision, that doesn't have that same dream, that doesn't share those core values like you do. So it's super important that you consider that. Um, and then the other thing that you need to consider is the self-care. Because as your business starts to grow, you start to get hectic, you start to get stressed out. There's so much in the business world, but it's not impossible. So, things to consider when starting your business is creating that solid business plan, that solid foundation. That is going to be of utmost importance. So, I invite you to download the free Hustler business plan. Or if you really need that guidance, I invite you to join my Entrepreneur Cafe. It's a membership group only where it provides you with step by step guides, resources, videos, and step by step information so that you can create that. Or, if you have the funds available to hire a trainer, a mentor, a coach, then I am at your disposal. I am at your service. If you are thinking in doing that, make sure that you hop on to the link and let's chat. Let's see how I can help you create that amazing, profitable business to help you once again boss up and rise.